Well, from the chaos happening in Afghanistan to getting a new governor here in New York State, there's been a lot going on both nationally and in Albany, right?
News Channel 9's Dan Cummings spoke with ABC political director Rick Klein to get his take on it all.
Well, we're joined now on News Channel 9 by ABC News political director Rick Klein. I want to ask Rick, first of all, about Albany, our political capital. The new governor, Kathy Hochul, underway. Your colleague, Avery Harper, said it's a trial by fire that she's starting in, and that's for sure. With COVID on her doorstep and Cuomo just over her shoulder, she has a lot to get done. How important, Rick, do you think it is for Governor Kathy Hochul to get out of the gate quickly and politically achieve some things early on?
Oh, I think there's no such thing as a second chance to make that first impression. And I think New Yorkers who are eager for new leadership, New Yorkers who don't know Governor Hochul, which is probably the majority of New Yorkers up until a couple of weeks ago, have an opportunity now to see her on the stage. And she says she's a forthright and honest broker, a person that's going to be a straight shooter. And I think a lot of New Yorkers want to see what that's about and want to see what that culture change looks like, even while she grapples with the huge challenge of taking over state government from a disgraced former governor, and dealing with the COVID crisis that has vexed the nation for such a long period of time. So she's got to show she's in command, and I think by all accounts she's off to a pretty strong start.
Before we move on from the disgraced former governor, your take please on Andrew Cuomo's parting comments when he said it was a political and media stampede that led to his resignation.
I mean, on a certain level, you can understand his frustration and you can understand where that stems from. There was a stampede, but the stampede, of course, really stemmed from the reports of his own conduct, and a report that he himself wanted from Tish James, the Attorney General. That was the thing that people were citing, and there it was in black and white, and it documented inexcusable behavior. And I think the lack of remorse that he showed in that comment, I think, to a lot of people justified the feeling that that this was an appropriate way for this to end, maybe the only way for his governorship to end. But again, that isn't to say that you cannot understand how he'd be frustrated by how he didn't get an opportunity to put his own side of the story out there. He said that in those initial remarks. I think, though, the lack of contrition, the lack of taking responsibility is something that rubbed a lot of his political enemies the wrong way.
All right. In at least one interview this week, Governor Hochul said she's a Biden Democrat. She's been on the phone with the president. She's well connected to Hillary Clinton. But Biden and his Democrats in Washington certainly are at a pivotal point right now in his administration. How important do you think it is for Governor Hochul to be strong, because heading into the midterms next year, President Biden, especially given what's happening in Afghanistan, is going to need all the help he can get politically?
Yeah, it's a great point, and I think for a lot of Democrats around the country who've seen the popularity of Joe Biden during this era, they're a little bit worried right now because they're seeing the biggest challenge and the biggest missteps potentially of his administration, whether it's Afghanistan or inflation woes or other concerns around immigration. There's a whole lot that's come across the Washington radar screen of late, and it's tested Biden's ability to slow things down and to keep a methodical sense of him being the grown-up in the room. But I think Democrats like Governor Hochul recognize their party's identity right now is tied to the man in the White House, and I think identifying herself as a Biden Democrat at this moment, even this embattled moment, spoke volumes about her and how she sees her role in the party. This is a time that she and many other moderates feel like their leadership is the most warranted and the most being tested at the moment. They know that there's progressives out there, Republicans out there, all sides that are looking at this in a much different light. But I think testing the strength that Biden has over the Democratic Party and across the nation will be a critical one over the next year plus.
Right here in the immediate Syracuse area, Rick, we have the 24th Congressional District, traditionally a swing seat, and right now John Katko still holds it. But as we move into next year with the Democrats having a really thin majority in the House, Hochul's leadership and what happens on Capitol Hill is going to have a whole lot to say about his future.
No doubt about that. And also, I think the top of the ticket in the governor's race, whether it's Lee Zeldin or anyone else that's trying to take that Republican banner, the fact that you have another Democratic governor who left office in disgrace is not good for the image of the party. It gives Republicans some hope, and it might dampen Democratic enthusiasm and turnout. And look, both sides are going to have their work cut out for them in getting voters engaged in the way that they want over the next year.
All right, one more question about Governor Cuomo, our immediate past governor. Kathy Hochul's already said she's in for next year. She's going to run for a full 4-year term. What do you think the chances are for Andrew Cuomo to make a comeback politically or otherwise anytime in the immediate or distant future?
I don't see it. I mean, never is a long time in politics, and I, recall Elliot Spitzer making a comeback as a cable talk show host. I just don't see it right now in this environment, short of a full exoneration of some sort, which I don't think is going to be forthcoming. Andrew Cuomo's going to have legal issues that he's going to have to contend with for some time. He's into his 60s. I don't see a path back, but again, I think the prediction game has fooled me a couple of times in recent years, so I want to be careful about any absolutes.
Rick Klein, ABC News Political Director, we're real grateful for your time, and we appreciate it. Take care.
My pleasure as always. Thank you.